You need to sign up, sir? Do you need to speak or anything?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Nelson County Fiscal Court meeting Tuesday, June the 20th at 6:02 p.m. We will go into executive session at the end of the regular court meeting. For KRS 61.8101B, deliberations on the future acquisition of or sale of real property by a public agency, only when public publicity would be likely to affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency. No action will be taken tonight. We'll do that at the end of our meeting. When we come back in session after that, it won't be any action. And just let everybody know if they want to stay around, they're welcome, but they don't have to. We have a group here, the student commander of the Nelson County Schools ROTC, Austin Kurtzinger. We'll let you, if you don't mind, lead us in the pledge, sir.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you all,
You mind leading us in, you gonna lead us in prayer also?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, everybody. Please remain standing.
Let us pray. Lord God, thank you so very much for allowing us to have gathered here today as a community, as people, representatives, and members of this community. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to have the ability to do your will by speaking of any potential issues in the community and finding the best resolve. Please be with everyone here. Allow them to do your will and find the resolves in them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Next, we'll do our community showcase with Austin. You bring anybody with you, or you go?
Excuse me?
You by yourself?
Speaking on my own, yes, sir.
All right, well, you go ahead, and he's gonna tell us about what you're here for, and I'll let you take off.
Yes, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Cadet Colonel Austin Kurtzinger of Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps Unit KY2-0003, or Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. What JROTC is essentially the high school level of collegiate ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Corps. What they do is, at the high school level, at our level, is we have a mission of building citizens of character dedicated to serving their community. By serving our community, that does not mean that the cadets are in any way, shape, or form obligated to serve in the military. Not in any branch or at any point of their career in ROTC are they required to join the military. What it does mean, however, is that we like to instill some certain values of them, namely the Air Force core values, and one of those is being service. So, of the Air Force's 3 core values, there's integrity first, which is doing the right thing, even when no one's looking. Even when there isn't a person to pat you on the back or to give you an award because they saw you do something good, you do what's right, no matter what the circumstances are. Second, you have service before self, which is where you try to fulfill others' needs before you fulfill your own. It's a way of having camaraderie not only between you and your teammates, but also between the entire world, so that way you can be looked at as a provider and as a caretaker, as someone that gives instead of takes, a good thing in the world. The final core value is excellence in all that we do. No matter how simple or complex a task may be, whether we're learning how to march, whether we're learning how to wear a uniform properly, whether we're planning fundraising events for the community, we try to do our absolute best in absolutely everything, which is something I personally think we need more of in the world. We try to instill this in all of our participants through exercises, through having people lead their own units, giving people rank structure that they can learn, so that they can learn leadership abilities and things like that. As a unit, one of the big things that we do is community service events. We plan, organize, and fundraise for all sorts of organizations all throughout our community and even to some other parts of the community, different communities. anything from 5Ks, park cleanups, car washes. Chances are, if you can name it, we've done it. And these are just a few ways that we help the community. Outside of some of the things I've already mentioned, there are also plenty of benefits that ROTC offers to the cadets themselves. If cadets participate in JROTC for 3 or 4 years, they have the opportunity, not the obligation, but the opportunity to enter the military at a higher pay grade, an E2 or E3, depending on which branch they choose to join. Beyond that, you also get service hours through our community service events if you so choose to participate. There are opportunities to have leadership experiences, which I personally believe are unmatched by just about any other program out there at this level. And of course, collegiate ROTC also offers scholarships for JROTC participants if they do wish to pursue a military career. Through performing drill and ceremony with the proper wear of the uniform, with proper standards of dress and appearance, we instill characteristics such as discipline, accomplishment, and my personal favorite, a sense of belonging to something greater than yourself. A sense of belonging to something greater than yourself is a reason to bring your best to absolutely every occasion. The realization that it's not just about you, but it's about the man next to you, your team. Thank you guys so very much for allowing me to speak on this tonight, for allowing me to open you guys up in prayer and with the pledge. Hope you guys have a productive night tonight, deliberating on anything in the community. Once again, I'm also grateful. Thank you.
Accompanying Austin is also Craig Davis, who's a teacher at Nelson County High School, and we appreciate you coming. And
thank
it looks
you.
like you got some.
Just to give you all one thing, I want to give this young man kudos, super kudos for what he's done. This program has been around for about 23 years in Nelson County, but with COVID, we are rebuilding. We've had COVID, we've had retirements, and we've had people move on to different positions. So this program is we are rebuilding with the support of the community. We've seen nothing but we are building this thing from the ground up. Right now, we have this coming school year, we'll have 54 cadets from not just Nelson County High School, but from Thomas Nelson High School and Bardstown High School. So this is a really good program, and we thank you guys for the support.
I just want to point out real quick, Mr. Davis, if you stand back up, is a product of not only what he's doing here, but spent many years with us as a paramedic under Nelson County UMS.
Thank y'all for that. And good luck, Austin.
Thank you, sir.
We'll go to the, let's do the approval of the minutes next. They had a chance to look at those.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Adam, second by Keith. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bills and transfers are next. And Rhonda put a few extras in there today. I think it was today. I haven't had a chance to look at those yet.
Any additional transfers around it?
No, just, well, there was additional bills, and then I had my transfers with the paid bills.
Right.
That's
Anybody got any
it.
questions on that? It's, we'll be able to get toward the end of the year here.
I got the one with Wickland, Brad. Is that group that did the,
What we call assessment report?
yes,
That is correct. That should be the final bill on that, Keith.
so costly, huh?
Yes, sir, it is.
What was the total on that?
Oh, that's the second payment.
Man, you're
42?
It was 50, wasn't
No, it was a little less than
I
50.
think it's 40 something.
Well, I'm thinking 40, 42.
it? $40-something thousand, and that was paid for through that, what type of grant was that?
The trig fund.
The trick.
Tree Fund Foundation.
That's about the whole fund for a year then. It's been averaging right at about 40.
So it didn't cost the taxpayers any money, that's,
No.
it did
let
not.
everybody realize that.
Motion to pay the bills and transfers as presented.
There's a motion by Jeff, second by MT. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. The public comment, I've got Mr. Don Thrasher signed up. Don, you want to come up here? You can pull that podium out if you desire to.
How are you tonight, Tim?
I feel pretty good.
Good.
Been tired and wore out, to be honest with you. Pass that there, please.
Hey, you look worn out. So, I just want to remind you as judge executive, you have an obligation to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Kentucky. Recently, you've refused to give my news media outlet special notification pursuant to KRS that Chip, our county attorney, has instructed Carol to start giving me. But yet you say my news organization should not exist. Well, the reason the founding fathers put the First Amendment that says that no law should be made to impede the press, that means you used to have to go to King George in order to get permission to become a journalist. Well, here our founding fathers said, no, let's not do that. So it's very troubling, Tim, that you go ahead and you say that my news organization shouldn't exist just because it's critical of you. Now, I know you and your wife tried to shut down my paper last year. You know, you sent horrible letters that I can provide to anybody that wants them that says that my paper should be shut down and completely stopped. Now, you have an obligation as judge executive to go by the law, which you haven't been doing. And I would just urge you to start doing it. Thank you.
I'm gonna go to the tourism budget. Samantha, you want to present that?
Sure. So I thought I only get, a couple times a year to kind of tell you what we're doing in tourism, and a lot of times people don't know.
You can come up anytime. You realize that?
Yes, absolutely. I will do it. So a lot of times people don't know what tourism does, so I thought I'd just give you just very, very briefly a few things that we do, just to kind of give you an idea of what we do. So this year we hosted 54 media and FAM trips, and a FAM trip is a familiarization trip. And basically what that does is you host those people, and a lot of times those are writers. So those articles that you see in USA Today and those big pieces that you see out, those are because we hosted those people. Those don't just come to you. So we do a lot of digital ad placements. This year we hosted 54 of them, and we have an amazing PR company, and they will give us some leads, we give them some leads, and then they send us people, we take them out. And this year we were able to do a few really great ones like Garden and Gun Magazine. That is a huge publication which would typically cost $50,000 to do an ad placement in. Yahoo, that's huge, that's about $100,000 worth of marketing. Southern Living, MSN, Travel and Leisure, and Reader's Digest. And so those are just to name a few, but we have a ton of that. So basically what we do is take the budget, the marketing and advertising budget, which is $980,000, and we turn it into a $5 million advertising campaign. That is what we do. That's our job. Our job is to duplicate that money over and over and over again. So the more taxes that come through the transient room tax, the more we spend on marketing. And that means the more people shop in your downtown businesses, and the more people eat at those restaurants. And so that's how that continual flow keeps happening. This year we had a bunch of international guests in, and the reason why we like international guests is because they stay twice as long and they spend like 6 times more than the average traveler. So that's one of the reasons why we really hit that market. This year we had a travel writer named Yurin Jung. He actually wrote a piece, and he was recognized internationally and domestic for the #1 article in not just the United States, but the world by the U.S. Travel Association. That article was on Bardstown. So that was a really good hosting event. We took him everywhere. He said he was the most surprised out of his entire career that what Bardstown really was. And he asked them when he came in and he saw his list of places that he was going, which this guy's been on African safaris. He told me about tigers that he was standing next to and all these other things. And he said, what am I gonna do there? This is a small town. And they said, just trust us, you know, take a look at it. He said it was one of the most surprising places he'd ever been to. And this is a world traveler. 2 years ago, I started about 3 years ago. 2 years ago, we decided to make a valiant effort to really get back in that group market, that bus market. And what that does is fills our hotels, right? And so right now, our leisure market, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that stays pretty full. And that's your weekend traveler, and that's typically a little more easy. But with the new hotels, we need to make sure also that Sunday through Thursday is full, you know, all those nights. And so part of doing that is really working with these bus markets. So we go all over and travel, leave our families for weeks at a time, and then we go and talk to maybe 40 bus tour operators during 2 days' time. We take them to dinner, we talk to them about things, and then what that does is we've booked now $600,000 worth of booked business in Bardstown this year. So that's what that does, and that means, and honestly, the attractions are part of it, but really, what you're really seeing is the restaurants and the businesses downtown. So that money's flowing right back to you. Our office also manages the transient room tax, and that's a pretty big job. We put a really great person in charge of that this year, and she's done a really fabulous job. You know, there's been some changes in the transient room tax, and all those are positive changes. We revived the Hospitality Association. We felt like with this really great windfall of tourism that we needed to give back. And who would we want to give back to but our hospitality people? Those are the people that welcome us every single day at the restaurants, the bars. So we've been educating them for about 2 years. And that has been amazing. At the Stave Awards, they all were able to apply for awards and be recognized for their efforts. And so we threw them a big party. We're working on a new website, and that is something that you just have to keep up with all the time, because everything's a dinosaur within a year now, and so you really have to keep on top of that if you want to really play the game of tourism. Last year we gave $91,000 in tourism grants, and then this year we plan to give $105,000. Last year we gave $24,000 for local sponsorships, events, projects that are tourism related. So that would be like your street concert and those kind of things that locals enjoy. This year we're giving $28,000. This year we added $20,000 for a brown sign project. So we'll be replacing or fixing those brown signs that look really rough to our destination. We also give Main Street, BCCA, and we contribute to all kinds of local events. And so just kind of wanted to give you just that little bit of what Bardstown Tourism does, but you are always welcome in our office to ask any questions, and our books are always open to you.
So Matthew, you have one thing on here that, because everybody realizes this is just a pass-through budget by state law, but you did have $137,000 up here in your marketing reinvestment.
Yep.
Last year you spent $381,000. Why such a big change?
Well, one of the things was we got a ton of ARPA funds last year, and this year we don't we don't have as many of those and we spent most of them. And another one was for the last 2 years, we really didn't know how to budget, mostly because of COVID. You know, it's completely changed. The world of tourism has changed, and the numbers they look a lot different. So we honestly, we tried to budget conservatively because we weren't sure what was gonna come in. We weren't sure if tourism was gonna come back, if it wasn't gonna come back. But now we think we've kind of hit that level ground. I mean, we'll still see it go up, but I don't think it's gonna be as drastic as it was the last 2 years. We hope it will.
Well, Samantha, I see you got a remodel in here. Have you done that yet?
We did, and we carried that over from last year again, so we carried that amount over because we weren't able to start that this year. There was some repairs that needed to be done in-house this year that we're very thankful that were done, or that are being done. And so we're just kind of waiting for that, and the next step would be to kind of show you all what our plans are.
I'm assuming you prefer to do that in the wintertime?
Yes. Yes.
That's what I would assume or suggest. Anybody got any more questions? We need a motion to accept this as part of the record, I think.
I'll make that move.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Adam. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Samantha, I think you're doing an excellent job. When I drive through town on a weekend, I see a lot of people, and 99% of them's got a smile on their face. So
Oh, that's good.
that tells me that
You need to
something's,
thank those hospitality people because they're the ones who do that.
well, thank them for me. I
Yeah,
appreciate
I
it.
will. Thank you.
Depends on whether they just left there.
Yeah, that's true.
Northeast Nelson Fire, I'm gonna move that to the next meeting. Chief Ted Shields could not be here. But I will recommend the appointment of reappointment of Nathan Harris, I guess it is.
We have that? I don't have that, but.
You got it?
No.
Ted sent this out today. He's been on there, I think, 3 years, he said. And this would be a 3-year reappointment.
What was his name?
Nathan Harris. He just sent it to me today, I think. I blame that on Carol, she didn't get it to you. Do you know him? Do you know him personally? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What's the board?
The Northeast Nelson Fire Board, yeah. The Northeast Nelson Fire District Board, they call it. Yeah.
You need a motion for that one?
I do.
Okay, I'll make the motion to reappoint Nathan Harris.
I'll second.
Motion by John, second by Jeff. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Jeanette, I'll sign all these later, do them at one time, I guess. The library board appointments. You got those?
Yes.
I'm recommending, the 3 appointments on here. I'd have to ask exactly I don't know when the other dates, Michael's here, he can tell me when he finished or whatever, but I'm gonna recommend Donna Dugan for a 4-year term, and she begins in July 1st.
Looks like they all do.
Yeah. Paul Sorrell, a 4-year term. I don't think the dates, we'd have to check the dates on that exactly. And then Trey Bradley. I recommend all them. Do I need to do those separate, Mr. Attorney?
Well, it wouldn't hurt just to have them all separate.
Do you have reason to believe that the dates on these are not correct? Because if they're not, we probably shouldn't vote on them.
I think we can vote on them. If I need to change the order, we could probably do that if you write it that way. Michael, you know what the official dates, because they staggered a little bit.
Yeah, there were a couple of expired terms, one because of COVID.
Yeah, so
That
it was,
didn't come through 2 years ago, and then there was another one which was a year ago. So one's gonna be 2 years, one's gonna be 3 years, and one's gonna be 4 years.
2, 3, and 4. So if you can put that in there,
I can send the official dates tomorrow.
yeah, let me do this. You say one's 2?
Which one's 2, do you know?
Well, it was Rachel Riley's seat that was coming out.
But if he's making the appointment, you can
It
determine
wouldn't
which is
matter.
which.
It wouldn't matter which person you was making new appointments.
Yeah, if you're new, you could set the term.
Let me do this, if y'all don't mind, put that in a motion. Here's what I'm recommending. I'll let you do this one. Do this one for a 2-year. And I'll change that language on the chips. You okay with that?
Yeah, if he does it individually, it's fine.
But the starting date's gonna be July 1 on all three
Right,
of them,
I would think, yeah. So I'll make a motion for Donna R. Dugan for a 2-year term.
Need a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Adam, second by John. Any more discussion?
Yeah, one little bit of clarification, Chip. Tell me if I'm wrong on this, but I went back and read the KRS was changed recently.
Yes,
This is a judge's appointment
yes,
with the approval of fiscal court.
correct.
We have no input on who it is, we just approve, is that correct?
Well, no, I mean, you have to still approve.
Yeah, I know we have to approve. but,
Yes.
We don't throw names.
No, you don't.
Well, in other appointments, each district recommends somebody,
Yeah.
and then the judge evaluates and picks, so that's not this way.
Now, earlier this year, you all adopted the alternative process for appointments to the board,
Right, yeah.
in which when the state sends 2 names, he rejects them. When they send the second 2 names, then he can go ahead and appoint who he feels the fiscal court approval for the library board.
Just Keith and I, this first time we've been through this process. as well as
Right.
The rest of us, I just want to make sure.
Yes.
That's all.
Did I finish that motion?
No, nobody.
We need to vote on it.
All
We
in
had a first
favor,
and
say
second.
aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next one, I'm gonna recommend, Paul Sorrell for a 3-year term. And, let's see where he's at. But anyway, one of y'all can do that if you don't mind. This one.
I don't know. Probably do it.
You know, Paul? No?
I don't know.
Paul here?
Yeah, Paul's here.
Yeah.
Well, now I know.
You know what you're getting into, Paul?
Look at his face, there, see his face.
Make a motion to approve Paul Sorrell for 3-year term.
Got a motion on the floor. Motion by Jeff, second by John. All in, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Really inherited this.
The next one would be, Paul, you want to stand up and introduce yourself? This is Paul. And then D, where's D at? We did D.
Yeah.
And then the next one would be Trey Bradley, a 4-year term. And I need a motion to appoint Trey Bradley.
I'll make the motion to appoint Tracy.
Motion by John, second by Adam. Any more discussion?
I'm just wondering when he's gonna find the time.
You guys know Trey?
Stand up and introduce yourself, Trey.
Trey,
Yes, I mean, I know many familiar faces here, but good to see everybody again.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all for doing that. We'll send this, I'll send this to Jeanette, we'll get that rewritten a little bit.
Thank you.
We've got 2023-24 pay rate order. I think probably 99.9% of that was already worked into the budget, which we approved second reading last week or 2. There could possibly be a few changes that we adjusted in there, but if you ask me all of them at this point, I probably couldn't answer them. So what we did as a pay rate order, I've said this multiple times at these meetings, we give, the dispatch is coming under the fiscal court. Not to say they've done a bad job, we just think, Raymond M's been doing the board, Raymond in the city, and it's been many years. you know, I think they've done a good job overall. And we will, hopefully that we can get them up to the next level and get more equipment, and I guess the main thing is more help because of the pay scales, and we've discussed that quite a bit, and we feel like we can do that. So ambulance services in the same boat. You know, we did the sheriff department back in January, the EMS, all the county employees, garbage, road department, all the way down the line. We got a 6.5%, and many of them got another dollar, some of them got a little bit more than that, based on where they were at in the county. This is gonna be over $1 million, and it would get us up to, we're competitive with all the definitely surrounding counties, and with the private sector as much as anything, because we're losing employees, you know, right and left more than you realize. I think John can attest to that. All of them really can tell you that. So this, it's going to keep our budget. We've got a good, sound, solid budget, and we've got a lot of great employees. There's been a few that's maybe not here for different reasons. A few, not many, and we want to make sure we take care of our employees. We just redid our insurance at the last meeting. They've been working on that last 2 weeks, and we saved a ton of money in our insurance to help to do this. And I think our employees would be grateful if we pass this and we can retain them and be part of the team, and hopefully everybody does a good job and working. And anybody got any discussion on that?
Nothing on here that we didn't discuss, Ron?
No.
Really? Never seen it.
This is including the CPI?
Yes, for the CPI plus, some.
I need a motion to pass that. Motion by MT. Second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all for that. That's gonna be a great deal for our employees. Treasurer's report, Ron, what else you got?
I don't have anything. If anyone has any questions for me, just trying to close out the year end.
Ron has put in, well, too much time. He blamed me for it. She's had to eat, she's teasing her the other day with St. Gregory's picnic. She's had to eat some bologna sandwiches at night, so she come to work working too late. But she put a.
Do you anticipate a special meeting to close out?
I do not. I do not. I think anything that we close out, I don't anticipate any other bills to be paid before year end. The only thing left to close out would be the budget line item transfers. And I won't have those until that meeting in July to close out the fiscal year.
First time in 12 years, I finally got you trained.
Did good.
That kind of new leadership, I think, part of it.
Pat on the back.
But she's put a lot of hours and time and energy. I'm just want to let you know, and I'm grateful for Rhonda doing a great job. So.
Always has.
Okay, let's go to the grants. Brad, Medcalf, you want to talk about the grants and what else? You have any grants on the board or just in a local agreement?
Just interlocal agreement this meeting. This is going to be the same thing that we did with New Haven. The only thing that you will see is at the bottom of the page, number 3, 4, and 5. We've been asked, the attorneys at the Department for Local Government asked us to put this into our interlocal agreement. Number 3 just says that any of the funds that we use for nuisance abatement comes out of the occupational license fund, which is where it already comes out of. They just wanted to stipulate that. Number 4 is that the judge executive or his or her designee would be the administrator of the agreement. And then number 4 just goes through the process with 45A and 670802, which is how we acquire and dispose of properties if we had to put a lien on anybody's property or dispose of any property if we took possession of it. It just says we do it in conformance with the statute. That's pretty much all it is. They did, Fairfield City Council did their first reading of the nuisance ordinance, which is the same as ours, same as New Haven did.
They, at their next meeting next month, they will do the second reading, and we will also, I'll be there to do this interlocal agreement with them as well, so we'll have them out of the way and on board just like New Haven.
Is our meeting after their meeting?
Their meeting is
Thursday.
the 12th, I think, 11th or 12th.
10th, right?
Of July.
It will be if everybody agrees to it.
Yeah.
So I was over last Thursday and talked to the mayor and council, and then give them my questions, but they kind of indicated they might have a second reading sooner than that, but I don't guess they wouldn't do it.
Unless
Did
they
you
have
speak
set
to
their
him? He
meeting
didn't send you
date.
nothing else in regards to that. But it's fine, so they did the first reading, and we're trying to help, because we'll work with New Haven, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but Fairfield, they just don't have a lot of resources and help, and we can help them with these type of things. You know, they're part of the county, and we just need to bring them in as a partner, so.
But do you anticipate we'll have to go back and modify that's the New Haven?
We already have.
I'll make a motion, we approve the interlocal agreement with Fairfield for the new.
Second that.
Motion by Jeff, second by John. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. With that being said, well, I got Fairfield on my mind. The inmates, and I'm assuming they went back yesterday or today. I don't know if it's raining, maybe they didn't, but they're having their, Fairfield's having their homecoming thing next Saturday, and so the mayor asked us to, and I hate to say it really, but it's just a mess over there. And so they've been over cleaning up, weeding, and mowing and cutting the trees and limbs, just about everything. So curbs and gutters, scraping. I mean, they've done a tremendous job already, and they'll spruce the place up a lot. So we've had one or two crews. I don't know, Brad will get into that a little bit later, but Fairfield, I mean, it's helped them a lot. Just let everybody know that.
Saved us 15 minutes by saying that, so Justin didn't have to tell us.
Mark it off. It's done it. I'll throw them 3 pages away.
Brad, you have nothing, or Brad, Metcalf, you nothing on that?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go into the recreation report. I'll start it with, we brought on Tyler, what's his name? Webster. Like I say, he's gonna help us for a couple of months until we decide how we want to move forward there. I asked Tyler we're gonna have a public forum meeting. It's this Thursday at 6, from 6 to 8, right here. And Tyler sent out an email to anybody he could think of, the schools and football, baseball associations, and all the way down the line. And what I want to do is try to get everybody's input. I've asked them to get as much in writing that we can. I've got, I guess, a vision that I'd like to see happen out there. You know, we've been out there, let's say, close to 30 years when we built the park, 28, 29 years. And my goal has always been, since I took this job, is I want to think about the next 30 to 40 years and see what we can do. So we're going to have a lot of people here, I hope, to explain, and I've had several calls. Everybody's got a passion for different things. You know, we're out of room basically out there in most cases, except for football, because they have moved a lot of that to schools. Everybody's heard there's not a lot to do in Nelson County, Bardstown, so they're coming up with some different ideas. So anybody wants to come and attend and bring your ideas, suggestions, and then if you got a big idea, how you pay for it. That's what I want to know.
Bring it with you too, huh?
That's exactly right. So anyway, I just want everybody to know that, and that's this Thursday at 6 o'clock, right here. Brad, you want to go ahead and get into the...
All right, so the regular day-to-day stuff, our baseball league finished last night. They will start all-stars out there. We're going to host like the district all-stars this year for like this general area, you know, our surrounding counties. That starts Saturday. Probably will be a week-long tournament, if I had to guess. Speaking of tournaments, this past 2 weekends we had a tournament. After you guys remember, we did that with an agreement with an entity.
That's the name of that sanction group, but they had a, go ahead.
Yes, so went well. They had about 209 families, what we were told, that stayed over between those 2 weekends. So we'll see how all this shakes out, and if that's something we want to continue to do as the summer. You know, my goal would be if those fields are just sitting there, not being used, let's use them. Let's get some families, you know, that way those kids don't have to go somewhere else. They get to play at home every once in a while. And, you know, so we'll see how that shakes out.
We call that recreation tourism.
Hey, I heard about those grants. I'm gonna hit her up for some stuff later, so. And outside of that, the front gate, controllers were installed. We gotta get the electric to it, and then he'll actually physically hook it up. We didn't want to physically hook it up to add the electric to it, because somebody come along and hit it, and you know how that's gonna be. And that's it, really, for the recreation.
Well, they've had the group of road department, you know, we probably said that last time, and then the inmates, they go out there, so I've had tremendous amount of people just comment on how beautiful the park looks, with the landscaping and cleaning up and trimming, just a little bit of everything, so everybody's done a great job. I want to commend y'all for that also.
Appreciate it.
One comment on the area. Remember that pile of dirt I asked you about?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's been manipulated or moved. Are we doing something with that?
We continue to use it.
So we are allowed to use it now? Okay, okay. Is it going to go away eventually?
Eventually.
Okay.
I know the gentleman you're talking about, we'll eventually get to it.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's just we continue to find little projects out there where
Okay.
we use the forestry, and we have to.
Yeah, I just know it had been disturbed.
and I had discussed that.
Yeah.
Brad, go ahead and get in your...
Okay, I'll do my general report before we get into everything else for the road department. For culverts, I'm going to do this list real quick. All these are in preparation for paving. 2 cross drains on Virginia, 1 cross drain on Huntington, 2 cross drains on Timber Creek, 1 cross drain on Potter Shop, 1 cross drain at the intersection of Man and Meadow. Today we replaced 1 cross drain on Wilkerson, probably finish that up tomorrow. Again, that's getting out in front of you guys on your paving list, so that when we finally get this asphalt paving approved as far as the bids, I can issue purchase orders and Mago can start paving. They're ready, but I've been holding them off for some of this. Keith, we repaired those 2 sections on Spalding Hollow Road. Take a ride down there and see what you think. I think that's going to work out. We had just some settling there. Keith and I went down and looked at it. The neighbor, Keith actually did speak with them. They liked what it looked like at this point in time.
Is he gonna do his part?
Claimed he was going to do it this past weekend. He said his part, he's got some drainage coming off of his facility. He just needs to get it to our ditches. If not, he's going to road out the hillside again. Good partnership if he does his part. Keith, we did some grading on the Flats Road and Cecil Ridge. We had to fix that little spot up top. We got that phone call back. You know.
Yeah, I'm glad them people called in while the grader was in that area.
We got lucky. Currently in District 2, mowing right-of-ways. We're headed to District 1. Trees, we removed 3 large trees on Light of Cecil. Keith, you and I talked about that. They're right off the edge of the road. So hopefully if we get them off the edge of the road, they quit tearing the pavement up back there when they're coming out with their farm equipment.
Did you see that one tree in front where that root is? Wonder if we can get that while we get.
I'll have to look.
It fell over and they cut it, but it does look like it's, I don't know if it's county right of way or state right of way, you know, because it comes in that road.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking while we're out there, and the trees at the ballpark, you're getting them taken care of from each other. That'd be a good time to do that.
The trees at the ballpark, we're not going to get to it. Get the bucket truck back, and I've got the bucket trucks down being worked on right now.
Okay.
So I need a bucket truck for those.
Okay.
That's why we haven't got there yet. And today we had somebody up on Egan removing the dead ash trees up in there. They're everywhere. It's just a little bit at a time, fellas. Okay, materials list. You guys should have a summary. I gave it to, I think, out to the news medias. They got it. As typical, I just put this, you know, we bid out asphalt, rock, salt, motor, oils, fuels, road oils. What road oils are is when we pave or chip seal, you know, you got to spray your oil down, pipes, metal, and plastic. And I gave you what last year's price was compared to this year. Let's just get down what you guys are really interested in, paving.
We'll start over, Brad, the paving side. Go ahead and you tell them their spiel, and I'll tell them my spiel.
I'm going to be quick, I promise,
Let me
Jeff.
go first on that.
You go first, Tim.
On the paving side, we only received one bid. And if you look at that total price, and you got the laying and all that stuff. So I reached out to Mago's, I guess, administrative people, and asked them, told them, I think it's too high. And they've agreed to come back and go down another $1.50. Brad, you can correct me here in a minute and explain the details. If we use the correct mix, that'll come down another $1.50. And based on, if y'all go back and look what we did when we figured these blacktop list, Brad and I about maybe 6-8 weeks ago, asked him to come up with instead of using 1.5 inches across the board, we use 1 inch. And then we use 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches if it's got a lot of rough places as far as the wedging and all that. That's why you got a whole lot more miles in your districts when you figure that. So when Mago comes back, or whoever's bidding that, it's gonna take them a lot more time on a ton. You just common sense, you got more labor and equipment, they're spreading it out. And they gotta use more tackle. So according to their numbers, they actually gave us, based on last year's number, it was probably averaging close to $3 on our original bid, less than what it would have been if I used the same formula from last year. And then, because I know it's high, but then I asked him to come back down a little more, and he came down another $1.50. And that's if we use the 20%, they call it RAP. The state uses 15% minimum. They used to use 20. And it depends on if they don't mix the right oils and things in it. We can go up to 20, which the state used to use, and save us another $1.50. So Brad, you want to go with that? Explain that in more detail if anybody.
So what RAP is, recycled asphalt. It's millings, not shingles, it's millings, when they mill a road up. And like Tim said, I asked them, I said, in 2019, they changed the spec. When I say they, Kentucky Department of Transportation. They changed it from 20% back down to 15%. And it's about how hard the asphalt is and whatnot. When we tried to go to Mago and ask them, is there any way how to lower this cost? And they said, if we would go back to the old spec, the state spec. When I bid it out, I tell them, you got to follow state specs, what today's state spec is. So the discussion was, well, we used to lay it with 20% back in 2019, then it changed. And so they feel comfortable with that spec. They said they'd stand behind it. Again, it's not the shingles, it's not that. It's this millings is what they're talking about. And so if you guys want, we can approve their bid as presented, and then we can do a change order with them. It's the best legal way. Chip, I think, that in order to do this, accept their bid as presented, and then if you guys want to, we can do the alternate mix and get an additional $1.50 off what their proposal is. When I did all y'all's list, I assumed $95 a ton. It came in at $97.75. Some of you, it's gonna be okay if you decide, no, I want the regular mix, because you got money. Some of you ain't got money.
I mean, there's no relative to 20%, shouldn't be no discussion about it. I mean, he did it for,
Yeah, but didn't they have a problem with that?
That was the
Shingles.
Yeah, but it was something to do with this too, where it already had oil on the rock and then it didn't adhere to it, right?
So what they do is they adjust the amount of oil they put into it.
I heard something about it.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
Because that's why they had all these piles of it everywhere. They were trying to use it back in, but something about it didn't adhere or stick to it properly like it was supposed to.
So I can forward you all the literature that they gave me. There's a certain type of oil they use, and they have to then not use as much oil in the mixing process, Keith, because you're right, it's got oil in it. It's a learning process.
Right.
And so you're not wrong on what you're saying. The issue we had on one of your roads, Ballard, I think was a shingle issue back in the day.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember they
We had
paved
that
right around the
here,
courthouse.
too. Remember, we had to cut all this out because it moved.
Right.
It didn't adhere to it, right, didn't stick.
Right. So, that's what's on the table for you guys. We worked really hard this past week talking with these gentlemen about this. And, it's, the reality of it is we're trying to get as much paid for you guys as we can.
What's the total amount countywide?
You're going to have about 13,000 tons, not assuming we get any discretionary funds. So you times that dollar number.
It's gonna be around 20.
About 20 grand.
20,000 something. That's not counting if we get some more, some state money.
This is not correct. Correct.
What?
That we have here.
That bid right there, up top, ends up being $97.75 if you add surface plus laid.
Right.
Notice how I got the little star down below it? Take that $1.50 off $97.75 and you get down to $96.25. When y'all approved your list, I assumed it was gonna be 95 based on discussions with
We
them.
need to accept this bid based on this right now.
Correct.
And then we can come back and do a change order if we decide to do that.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve the current bid. Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So is that,
Carries.
I missed the motion, is that just for,
That's for this particular list, we need to change the.
okay.
That's for Mango.
I need it one separate motion because it's very specific on salt. And I'll need it in the minutes that they make me give a specific motion on salt. Cargill was the low apparent bidder. We go through CAECO for that. We kind of combine with a bunch of other counties. This year's bid was $108 a ton. If you see, last year's bid was $127.86. The barn's basically full. I can't hardly get any more in, but you want to be able to buy some if you need it. We can buy up to 1,000 tons. I can buy more if it's available, but
You need
I don't
a,
have to buy it.
don't have to buy it
you need a bid to.
I need a separate motion.
To approve the bid for salt.
for Cargill. Yes, sir.
Cargill, the 108.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid from Cargill for the salt for $108 a ton.
I'll second.
Motion by John, second by Keith. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Can we clarify, just in the minutes for Jeanette, that the previous motion was for the entire list with the exception of salt? The second motion was for salt only. I just want to make sure you
Thank you.
get that.
Okay.
Clarify that.
So going right on in, MT now has kind of settled in somewhat on his list, and I'll go over it. I gave everybody a copy. MT, this is based on the $97.75 price. Okay? Sawmill Road, Mount Moriah, the back 4,100 feet. There was a joint that I started at that seemed like it was bad from that way back to the cul-de-sac. Edwards Avenue, little short road in Boston. Southern Lane, the start of what the county owns, which is right past Bridgepoint subdivision. And then we go, I took you to 964 Sutherland. If you guys remember last court meeting, we approved some flex funds. That's where this ends, and the flex funds take you to the back. And I also, on that, so you guys know why I did this, you see where I said added $10,000 for asphalt curbing? That road is so straight out there, and the curb, we're already like that high. I cannot keep that rock, you know, usually I shoulder with rock, it won't work out there. So I'm having to add some asphalt, what they call curbing. You know, they'll reach their gates out there and let the asphalt go down. I've got several complaints, just people drive too fast. It's close to Bluegrass Parkway, and it just won't hold. I'm wasting money putting rock on it. So all that said and done, your total's 155, 159. Your allotment was 185, 700. You still have a balance of 30,541 that we can consider somewhere else down the road. I need a motion to accept that.
The motion by MT.
I'll second.
Second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
One last thing, so we got this large project on Highway 52 at D-Head. Keith, we finally have gotten the blessing to go ahead and when I say from them, from KYDOT, to bid this out, and they said the permit will be coming soon. So on August 4th of 2023, we'll have the bid opening. Primary completion date, December 1st, 2023. I just need approval from you guys to do that. This project is funded through KYDOT, as long as it don't exceed $1 million.
Also make that motion.
Motion by Keith, second by MT. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll bring that back for you guys' approval. Of course, has to go through E-Town for their blessing when that comes in.
And what are you thinking about?
August,
Looking like-
what I say, August 4th, we open bids, and we got a deadline, December 1st, and that's really based on asphalt, Tim, to be honest with you. You know, trying to get that asphalt laid for them. It's tight window.
I don't see them getting it done myself unless you have a heck of a warm fall, early,
Somebody's pushing me.
late winter. I know it, but they're going to have to get on it. Just talk about this roundabout real quick, Brad.
Okay, that is
It's a city
a,
project with the state, but Y'all get copies of that, I'll send that to you, didn't I?
In the email.
They pushed it out a little further. Go ahead, Brad. Yeah,
Well,
it's
so-
on the roundabout by St. Joe.
Again, there's gonna be a roundabout in front of St. Joe now. Instead of having a three-way stop there, whatever you wanna call it, they're gonna stick one of these roundabouts. It's a true roundabout. What we're standing in now is not a true roundabout. And so that project will start July 1st. The reason we're bringing it up to the public and you guys, New Haven Road will be shut down for 1 month at that intersection. You'll have to find a different route. If you're driving a truck, they want you to go out to Bluegrass Parkway and come back. They don't want you cutting through all these back roads. So again, it's not our project. We're just forwarding the information on. It'll be 1 month starting July 1st. That intersection towards New Haven is going to be shut down. So
That's just the first phase of it, right?
it's a pretty good little project. I haven't even been told how they're going to do the main section.
Brad, when you're saying a true roundabout, I remember the state bringing up this roundabout here. Don't you think that'd be a good time to switch this one with that one? So a block down the street, they don't have confusion with a block up the street?
You trying to get me on record? Going against what the state's
Our engineer from the state, we brought that up last meeting.
Yes, he did.
He said they were looking to
saying.
change.
What a true roundabout means in my layman terms, good old country boy terms, how we always talk, Keith. Once you get in a roundabout, you got the right of way. This one doesn't work that way.
And 90% of the ones are that way.
They are all
State
supposed to be.
Kentucky.
They don't call this one roundabout. They call it something else. Whatever, we call it a
But you
roundabout.
take a guy that comes in here when Samantha's people come in here, they're doing a true roundabout. They think they've got the right way. And we're lucky we haven't had more accidents than what we do. Bad.
Correct, speed helps with that because it slows people down. Now, the reason that, just to be real blunt and quick, because it's already 7 o'clock, is the reason this one, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
The reason this one's set up this way, the way it is because they want traffic coming from 62 and 150 flowing. You don't have as much traffic from South 3rd. That's why they stop traffic on South 3rd and North 3rd, because they want this traffic moving. What they're afraid of, if you go to a true roundabout, where if you get in a circle, you may back traffic all the way back up into these red lights. So they don't know yet. So they're
We'll
going
back this roundabout up into that roundabout.
Could be, if you don't be careful and do it the way you're saying.
Another roundabout on out 62 somewhere to slow down.
So that's your engineering lesson tonight, Keith. That's all I'm giving you.
I just want the public to know that.
Good, get me on tape, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Brad.
Are we gonna talk about the water lines, or is that?
I can do it now, but he's got it later down in the list, don't you, Tim?
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all got any questions for Brad on any of that stuff? Because that's a lot of stuff going on here. Jailer's report, Justin.
Good evening, everyone. Come go through that, keep it under 30 minutes.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Brad's gonna have a supper tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make it quick, though. We've got 132 inmates currently in-house as of this afternoon. 42 are state, non-East County. Revenue from state inmates is $1,484.28 a day. 58 are awaiting circuit court, 18 is district court. Recidivism rates down a little bit to 76%. Average length of stay, 83 days. Average length of stay for felonies, 116 days. Misdemeanor is 47 days. We're overpopulated right now, 29.41%. Overpopulated on males, 12.77%. And overpopulated on females, 225%. Since February 27th, total inmate work hours inside and outside the jail is 6,128 hours. Labor savings at $20 an hour, it's $122,560. Labor savings at $15 an hour is $91,920. Total cost of the program, what we paid out, because the inmates make, by state law, they make 63 cents a day. So they made $428 roughly is how much it's cost us to run the actual program. Out of that, they've had over 150 days taken off their sentences, because for every 40 hours worked, they get a day off their sentence. So it's kind of a win-win on that as well. Body scanner was installed last week. We're getting ready to start training on everybody on that. I think it is going to be amazing. I foresee it saving lives. I think it's probably the best investment we've made down at the jail. I'm very happy with it. Got Keiko coming down next week to do training on intake and screening procedures for a lot of our new deputies. Sheriff's Department's helping out with firearms training next week as well. And we got training on electronic control devices, training the trainer. Inmates completed landscaping the new courthouse. Mowing's happening weekly on county properties. We're also doing garbage pickup. I'm going to skip over the City of Fairfield note. Inmates will also be assisting the City of New Haven with a curb painting project that's going to be coming up as well. So that is what I have.
The jail policies.
Yeah, next, since the body scanner is installed, I present you all a jail policy and procedure. It has been reviewed by the county attorney. The Supreme Court has ruled the body scanner the same as a pat-down search, which means that anybody that comes in the facility, I can run through the scanner, pending that if somebody through the medical screening is pregnant, of course, we have to verify that and go through.
Or a pacemaker in them.
Yeah, or pacemaker, medical stuff. And so basically, this policy right here would reflect that. So I'm asking the court so I can update my policy and procedures to allow me to scan everyone that comes inside the jail based on this.
And y'all have got copies of this?
Yes.
And then, Chip, you've reviewed it?
Yes. I've got a question first. What is the most negative thing you've heard about a body scan? Throughout?
From the public, they think it's...
Not the public, from
the inmates?
Yeah, no, from you, the jailers.
The only thing is, it's only as good as the person that's using it. Even though ours is top of the line, ours is actually more in depth than the airports. Airports only reads the outside of the body, the skin. Ours actually does that and looks inside, which the airports does not look inside. So ours is the only one that has AI technology in it, which actually reads and
What's that
highlights
stand for?
artificial intelligence. And so it actually reads the x-ray and points out specific points on the x-ray for us to zoom in and actually examine it. And again, it's like anything when you go to a doctor. You know, two doctors can look at an x-ray and say, well, I think he's got this, and I think so. The main thing is the human error part. Even though there's technology helping, that's the only thing is that the human error part where somebody may look at something and be like, oh, I think that's a gas bubble when it's actually something else.
Well, can I come down there next week and get an MRI?
Absolutely. I'll run you through it. I'll run you through it.
Motion. Jeff? Second by Adam. Any more discussion?
Thank you, Justin.
All right, thanks, sir. And that's all I have. Our jail inspection, our certificate of occupancy. First jail inspection we've had, and since I can find on record that there was no maintenance deficiencies found in our jail at all. So I want to repeat that. Our jail was up 1987. And there was no maintenance deficiencies found at all inside of our jail.
Means you got a good building down there. Last 30, 40 years, like Tim said. Tim's looking out for 30 or 40 years. We're in good shape.
Well, thank you all. That's all I have.
Justin, he's also sent everybody the update on the canteen fund. Y'all getting that every time, so you know what's going on there. Is that all you got, Justin?
Yes, sir. It's all there.
The only other thing I forgot to mention earlier is the Justice Center, and I probably should have shared those emails, I don't know if I did or not, but the Diane Thompson and then Judge Sims sent me a long email and just raves and raves and raves about the, of course, I don't know if we've got different crews out there, but they said the Justice Center looks better than it's built in 20 years, is all the cleanup we've done, landscaping and mulching, and then they was really, really proud of it. And then Brad and them, they know about the parking lot. We do have some cleanup there to do, and we'll get it up in good shape where it needs to be and stay at that. So I don't want to say that because them guys done an excellent job. I think Buck was head of that crew mainly.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
They did an outstanding job.
Danielle, you're next up.
Good evening. For the coroner's office, we are continuing to put the records from previous years into a spreadsheet. So I'm hoping by the next meeting that I can give you guys a comparison of the past 3 years at least of like suicides and overdoses, so we can keep track of the numbers and give you a little insight of the things that we do at the office. I'm also working on a procedures manual for our office, which there wasn't one that came along with the office, so this might be the first time it's ever had a procedures manual, but I don't know. So I should have that relatively soon. There's a sign that's up on the building now. I don't know if everyone's seen that yet or not, but the coroner's office has now been tagged, so it has a sign out there. One of our deputies has resigned, and last week I did a couple interviews, so we should have another deputy coming along within the next week or so. Everything pretty much has been ordered for the grant that we received for the $13,000. Joe and I got together and we talked about the radios and the lights. So that's all been taken care of. I think it's just a couple of little things that we still have to do, and then we'll send it in and get all the reimbursement for it. And I just want to reiterate that so far the coroner's office has cost $0 to the taxpayers to get set up. So just want you all to know that, okay? As of today, there's been 65 coroner calls, and approximately, if I include the senior homes, approximately 180 passed away it's in the last 6 months. So, okay.
Do you have to do senior homes?
No, but since I came on board,
You're just trying
I
to keep a
asked them
record.
to send me a form. So I've gotten hospice on board and a couple of the other senior homes, but the funeral homes always send me a provisional to let me know to sign it, that they've got one over there. So I can keep kind of track of it, but once I get all of the senior homes on track, then I'll have a better number.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you, Danielle. Mr. Pruitt, you up next?
Yes, sir, since Justin left me a little time. Get started here.
Not a lot, I will.
Not a lot.
Have a regular report first.
Yeah, I got the monthly call report you have on your desk. For the month of May, 675 calls responded to. We're at the end of May for the year, 7,375 calls. That's up a little bit from the years previous. We had 6 lift assists in the month of May. They were down some. That's a good thing. And the squads in Bloomfield, New Haven had to return to Station 1 in Bardstown 64 times for coverage in town while the Bardstown trucks were busy.
Say it one more time.
The ambulances stationed in Bloomfield, New Haven had to return to Station 1 64 times. So both trucks in Bardstown are busy. One of those outlying trucks comes back to Station 1 for central coverage.
Is that usually typically during the day or at night or just?
It's anytime, 24/7. Most of the time, if it's a run in town, then the New Haven truck will move to Culvertown. The Bloomfield truck will move to Browns Lane until the Bardstown truck. That way, you've got bodies in the truck ready to roll if there's another emergency in the most populous area of the county.
I see them, they park a lot up there in the church parking lot.
Yeah, while they're waiting for a truck to get cleared.
What do you think they would kill that, right?
No. I believe in EMT services. I just recently had to use it, so I believe in it.
Why does District 3 have so many fewer calls and runs?
Well, they're healthier people.
I mean, significantly less.
There's not a bar in
The
that
way the
area.
districts, the way the populace of the districts and the way the districts lay out indicates the call volume. We see, history shows that. And District 3 historically just doesn't use or have the need for EMS. as much as the other 4 districts.
But now the Bardstown calls are counted in, I mean, they would.
Sure, and those, yeah, even though they're Bardstown, some of those are in 2 and 1 like that. So your district out, 3 is out that way where you're not as much activity. I would look at the revenue side. If you'll look at where cost to the taxpayer per run is $127.50, down from last year's $185.88, which is a good thing. Looking at the financials, for the end of May, our revenue side is 102% of what we budgeted. So we still have June revenue to come in. It's going to be a really good year for the revenue side.
I'll take credit for that.
And I will too, being my last year.
We're gonna give it to Joe, it's his last year.
Make it look good.
That's right.
We have.
Took 4, 5, 12 years to do that, didn't it?
Yeah. Under dispatch, real quick, Brad and Missy is here representing Sean with dispatch, but we've got a real issue with a server in dispatch that houses and controls the computer-aided dispatch program, and we've had a lot of resistance from Central Square on making repairs, or actually now needs to be replaced. So I'll let Missy and Brad maybe do a real quick update on that. You guys want to?
Well, today we reached out to some of the more senior leadership of Central Square to try to maybe light a little fire under them and point out exactly how.
Central Square.
Central Square is
People don't know.
the computer-aided dispatching system that we use at it. So we tried to just kind of get to some higher ups in Central Square and let them know exactly how bad that we think that our server, the shape that it's in, it's holding together right now, but we don't want it to fail. And they're telling us, consistently that it's going to be several weeks to get this new server, and Gary Holt is just afraid that if we wait that long, something's going to happen, and we're going to be down. So they're attempting to try to increase, or decrease that turnaround time and get the server out as fast as they can. They couldn't guarantee anything because of supply chain issues, but they promised us today that they'd do everything that they could to get us something as soon as they could. So.
What if it goes down? Do we have a backup?
The backup is what's down within the machine itself. So we're operating on the only drive in the machine, basically. If it goes down, then no, there is not a backup for it.
And what do we do?
Write it down by hand.
Everything goes to paper for the dispatcher.
Now, we pay a pretty significant maintenance fee on that.
We do.
Remember, I didn't think it was worth it at the time, but they should come through. What, you got a rate controller out, or?
Sounds like a raid, but I don't know what it sounds like.
Get your soldering iron.
That's above my pay grade.
Who's on the technology committee again?
It's Justin.
And Judge.
I didn't know what they were talking about.
Jays.
I'm not on that. All right, Joe, anything else on your end?
You want to introduce Michael?
I do.
All right. You want to go with that, or you want me to go with that?
I'll start it. I want to announce our new EMS director, Michael Reynolds. St. George's Place, Michael's here. We'll start, I guess, he's already working anyway, and what we have indicated is Joey's here till August 31st, correct?
Correct.
We got 2 more months, and we can work hand in hand with him and learn and see what he likes, doesn't like, whatever. So we're going to hire another replacement for Michael
A paramedic.
as soon as we can. That way he can step in and Mike, you want to tell us a little about your background?
I can. I've been a paramedic for 23 years. I've primarily worked here. I worked here in the early 2000s and left and went to Russell County, served multiple positions there, and was the director there, and returned here last May Moved to Bardstown in July officially with my family and plan to make residence and serve Nelson County, and I'll try my best to fill the shoes that Joe's done in his few days of service here. So.
Well, was it tourism caused you to go to Russell County? No.
No, that was a previous marriage.
We're glad you're back. We're glad you're back.
Yep.
A little more about Michael, just for the court and the media. Michael started with us in 2002 as a paramedic. He came on board full swing and reached the rank of supervisor in logistics. Back in the day, we had the federal government come out with hazmat teams and hazmat equipment. We had a team here in the county with multiple trailers. I'm sure you all have seen the red trailers and trucks, and Michael was instrumental in logistics of that team while he was here. He left us in 2008. Before that, he has dispatching skills for aeromedical before his paramedic days, so he's been in the dispatch center a little bit too. Went to Georgetown and worked there for a while, and then director at Russell Springs, Russell County, which gives him the knowledge of budgeting and things of that nature. And fortunately came back here with us as a supervisor in logistics and that type of thing for us too, along with Joey Spaulding. So he's done an excellent job with us. He picks up fairly quickly. He operates a computer keyboard a little better than I do, so he'll do just fine.
Well, welcome to the team, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. John, you want to talk about the landfill report?
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm passing. This is, so start off with the landfill expansion. We had a pre-bid meeting last Monday. We had a pretty good turnout. We had 4 good contractors show up. So we advertised to bid. We had our pre-bid last Monday. We'll open bids Friday. So we'll talk about that at our next court meeting. If we do that July 10th. One of the concern about schedule. So right now the schedule set for construction is starting after we approve bids July 10th, after that time, and then it'll be going through towards the end of November. So basically we'll have this next sale ready to go towards the end of November. The one thing that they said about construction, or about the timeline they're worried about, is the pumps and the pipe to get the material in. So what we did, we advertised to bid for the materials for this. So we have 2 different suppliers. We have for the pipe and then the pumps for the force main. This is the force main on site. Goes from the old landfill, old residential landfill, replacing those pumps, and then the pump station for the current landfill, replacing those pumps. And the existing line that we talked about previously in court is where the new landfill phase is going to be. So basically relocate that line around out next to the road so it's out of the way for expansion. We had, for the pipe bids, we had ISCO Industries for the pipe and all the fittings, stuff like that. It was $72,084, and Consolidated Pipe was $95,000. For the pumps, they're EPG pumps, and the price for those, so that's 2 pumps for the old landfill, 2 pumps for the new landfill, and then 2 pumps as spares, just in case any of these go out, were $72,012. So this is material that we would need for the expansion anyway. We just went ahead and bid these out so we can get these on order because there's a longer lead time for these.
We'll pay for them entirely, whoever gets the bid and save the sales tax and so on. So I entertain a motion to accept the low bid here. From Jeff, motion from Jeff. Second by Adam. Any more discussion?
Just one question, John, just so I'm clear, this is material that we would buy and that's not part of the bid to put it in, or it would be part of the bid and they...
So it's part of the bid. So basically this is in the plan set that we have right now. So all we're doing is we're pulling out the material. We're going to purchase this directly. That way when the contractor shows up, they install it.
So they would bid minus the material?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what we have listed out in our contract. If this is what the line item is, we buy the material. And that's what we've done on other previous projects too. After we award the project, we'll pull out the material sometimes to save on sales tax.
And have you worked with both ISCO and EPG? Both?
I haven't done with the EPG pumps, but we worked with ISCO before. And they're both good companies.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
For bidding or awarding the low bid
Yes.
for $60 on the $72,000, not worked with somebody, that was just the
Yeah.
question I was bringing up.
Yeah, this is the ISCO is more of a direct, so the sewer line, it's a 3/6 HDP line, consolidated, maybe more of a middleman, I might want to say, but ISCO's kind of the direct people that make it. It's a 3/6, so the inner line is what actually carries the leachate, and then a 6-inch carrier line, just in case if it leaks inside of that. You have that secondary containment, so you don't have anything leaking out.
Which one are you more comfortable with?
ISCO, yeah, the cheaper one. And the DPG pumps, very good pumps, stainless steel, everything basically, and those pumps are stainless steel. You just don't want, you get a lot of stuff in that leachate that can break stuff down, so they're very good pumps.
Who made the motion?
I did. Jeff
You
made
made
a
a
second.
second. Any more discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. John, what, you want to talk about this permit side next? Do we have to do anything on that with public comment, or is that finished?
That's not finished yet. So we don't have to do anything, we advertise in the paper for the permit, which is right now, we have to advertise for basically public comment. They have till July 7th, I believe, if
July 7th,
anybody has
that's
any
correct.
comments, then we'll get our approval, we get our permit. So we don't technically have a permit now, we have a draft permit, saying everything's good to go. On the Division of Solid Waste side, they just have to have that 30-day window for public comment. That's done on July 7th. So then we'll award, hopefully if all the bids turn out good, July 10th, we can award the contract for the landfill expansion.
Anybody got any questions on that part? All right, then the next, where are we at next, John? You got
The roll-off boxes. Last time we talked about roll-off boxes, since that dollar amount was over 30,000, we just went and advertised and bid. Here's the bids for, it's the exact same number, so I just reached out to more companies to try to get more competitive pricing, but the prices were the same for the boxes. Iron Container were the cheapest. For a 20-yard was $4,750. For a 30-yard, $5,250, and a 39-yard open top is a $6,250.
We agreed at the last minute to get 20, but we didn't go through the, after we did it, we had to make sure we get this bid out properly, so I'd rather entertain a motion to accept this with another.
I'll do it too. I entertain the motion to accept it.
And these things, we make our money back. We get paid to rent, and we have a waiting list, 15 or 20.
Motion by Keith, second by Jeff. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. These roll-off boxes, like I said, we talked about this a bunch, it's just, it's a good return on your money. You had a waiting list for about 30 days, you said, on some of them.
We have 15 or 20, probably more than that, people name on the list waiting to get these, so. And that's all I had.
You know, you got, John?
Yes, sir.
I think I'll wait on this, let's go ahead and talk about Washington County, what's in your department. You sent me, I don't know what I did with it, but we'll just talk about it briefly here. We won't have any kind of motion or anything, but I don't know what you sent me somewhere. Here we go. Washington County, I met with the judge there. They've been talking about it, probably went off for a year or so, and about taking our garbage in. We did for years, and then they pulled out, I don't know, how long has it been?
Before I was here.
When he was here 15 years ago, he moved maybe. They moved, because the Rumpke was controlling the E-Town landfill at the time and whatever. But now, they're reaching back out to us when we build our new phase. And I met with the judge, and they'd like to come to us. We help them out with their dogs and cats. So he said he might rather come here. Now, they could save some money by coming here and driving all the way to Hardin County. What it does for us, according to these projections, and he went back and hashed them out, because we've changed it, he's changed it in the roll-off boxes, it could generate $500,000 a year roughly for the landfill. And new revenue without hiring, I mean, we could pretty much take it on without hiring any new help. Now, there could be a spot or two you may have to fill. I think personally we need another driver in a roll-off box truck anyway. But you could use rotate in and out. But they could generate here another $500,000 a year that we could pay for that, the landfill expansion will cost us $5.5 million, roughly. It may be more. The way things is coming in, it could be more than that. These bids coming in pretty high, so.
What's that judge gonna do to our expansion? How much more garbage? How many years is it gonna
How does
cut
it
off?
impact the longevity and the lifetime of ours? What's their
Right.
volume, I guess?
So their volume, they bring 3 garbage trucks a day and roughly 4 roll-off boxes a day. So just to give a,
Is it 10% or 40% of what we have now?
it's probably closer to 5%.
5%, it's really
We
light.
have one of our main factories in town generates just as much as what Washington County brings garbage-wise, 3 garbage trucks, residential. So it's not gonna cut our volume in half. It's
I
just
wouldn't
about 10%.
really even consider it if we thought long-term we're gonna run out of land, but we've got land out there that lasts, I think our projection's probably 50 years. And that's, some new technology coming in and so on. And that's not counting filling all the seams and everything in between. I mean, that's kind of what we estimated, Brad, probably 50 years. Takes about an acre a year, roughly. But that would generate, that's something to think about. It's not going to be talked about, you have to think about it, talk about it, but it helps the cash flow because, we got to save that money as we build these phases. Like you said, it's going to be 5.5. I bet it comes in a little higher than that, but maybe we won't have to, it'll help our debt service out there tremendously. So anyway, that's something y'all think about. I don't know if I shared that with y'all yet or not, I can't say. I will. All right, anything else, John, on your end?
That's it with landfill and solid waste.
Engineers, John and Brad, you want to talk about some more?
So this, I'll talk real quick about the
Talk
water
about the
line.
water first.
Today, we opened water line bids for Cornish and Wycliffe, Brothers Lane, and W.T. Thompson. I'm just submitting this for informational purposes, because I just opened these this morning, and I need to do research on the contractor and go through it. But this Kiefer Contracting, we only had 2 bids for it. Kiefer Contracting, you see, is a total of $350,081.12. The other bid was Lanham Construction at $400,392.90. So I'm only submitting this to you gentlemen and to the court today to say this is what they opened up at. We got to do some due diligence on the contractor and budget.
Basically came in, $50,000 over our estimated, so it's roughly 50,000. And all these water line bids are coming in extremely high.
It's 114,000.
Depends on what number you're looking at.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason I'm just trying to get it out yet. I haven't digested it all yet. Engineers are good at massaging numbers. I just wanted to get this out in front of you all.
That's one thing you don't see it.
What's that?
Estimated cost, no?
It's on this one.
It's on this one.
Estimated cost.
Yeah.
The engineer's estimate was $286,000.
That's about 60,000.
But now, if you go back and look what we had originally budgeted 2 years ago, this process started 2 years ago. We originally had $300,000 plus whatever Brothers Lane was going to cost. Because I didn't have a true number for Brothers Lane at the time that court had just kind of co-mingled it
First couple
in.
houses on Brother Lane, they have water. What do they do, run it from the main road?
No, the line just stops right there. It stops right where the rock starts.
Okay.
That's why they didn't go any
There's
further.
only 2 or 3 houses back there, right?
Yeah, but there's more coming, and
Okay.
those were the people who are pushing us hard for that. MT knows there's some guys.
Just let you be clear, crystal clear on this, is Carnage Lane. we
Could
also have
increase.
to Be transparent about it because we don't, based on making control ad and some of our mapping and whatever, they don't have really defined ending based on those road ends, public roads, so you gotta get that clarified.
We're working on it. We're working on that.
We're working on
That's the reason I'm not
it.
ready to.
Clear on it, I don't know, but anyway, that's just to let you know what's going on.
So I'll be in touch with the magistrates that these areas affect. We still got some easements outstanding that I'm working on. You guys know that.
How many easements do you have left to?
Plenty.
You do, really?
Oh, yeah.
What's his master's been done?
No, it ain't manager's fault. It's just getting the people comfortable with what they're dealing with. They're out there.
Poor judge is really quick to throw the blame.
I'll take the blame. How's that? It's on me.
You might be driving that, but I was a master one time. I
All this for tonight was for informational purposes. I'll be in touch with you gentlemen. Again, we just opened them today, so it's, I'm still, gotta do my due diligence.
I know it's a lot of work. Thank you.
Civic Center, Don, you want to talk about that?
Yes, so we had back in the windstorms, we had the issues with the roof at the Civic Center. So I met with the insurance adjuster, I met with some contractors. It came in over $30,000 on the quote, so we had to bid it, advertise and bid it. We had, the lowest bid was Bluegrass Roofing Company for $73,446.16. The insurance adjuster's estimate was like 71 and change, but he said that's close enough. He'll cover all the expenses for that. So this is an insurance claim. It'll be a new roof on the building.
What type of roof's on it?
Shingle roof.
Shingle. So what's the deductible? Is it three-dimensional?
U.S. card question.
Shingle or regular?
I think regular shingle. While we're up there,
I mean, squares in?
It's fine.
That's a big building.
it's a big building, very big building. I've asked several other companies and they were just, it's too big for them. It's bigger than you think.
Need a motion to approve it?
Yes.
I do.
Motion to approve it.
I'll second that.
Motion from Jeff, second by Adam. Any more discussion? All approved? Opposed, motion carries. Part of this, also was about, there was some damage, some wood that's deteriorated in soffit. And it was a $20-something bid, quote, I guess you'd say, that was a quote. That was a quote. And I rejected it and told them we're gonna do it in-house, so, Brad and him, we did have to buy a couple ladders. But we're gonna do that wood, replacement and the soffit and everything in-house. It was about, I think, $21,000, wasn't it?
They said it's that foam, like that parabolic on the top part of it. Basically, some of the joints where the foam is, the caulk was deteriorated, water got down there and kind of,
Yeah.
that's the boards, that rubber boards.
And it's not that big of a job, but we can do it. It just may have to work it in our schedule. Just let everybody know what's going on. Save what we can save. Jeff, you got anything on the technology report?
Brad and Ron have been working with AT&T on redoing our phone systems and getting some options. I think last I heard he was waiting on their requirements for internet speeds.
We met with, Ron and I met with AT&T this week, and they put together, gave us their package, their initial package, and from moving from current copper lines that we're on now, moving to the VoIP or the internet lines, it was actually going to be a substantial savings to what we pay now. Upwards of 50% of what our phone bill is now every month. In addition to that, their equipment package was, I think, far and beyond what we thought that it would be. As far as we thought it would be much, much higher. They gave, we're doing it on the state plan, so the discounts were deep, and it may only be a few $1,000s to switch out over 110 phones in the entire county in every department. We've sent out an email to all the department heads. We have a few standalone phones that won't be connected through computers, so we'll have to buy some adapters for that, so we're kind of fine-tuning the overall price. But we should know something fairly soon and could be doing upgrades in the next few months after we do some speed testing. That's the big thing, is making sure that our internet speeds everywhere we have enough bandwidth to handle these phones and the volume of calls. Also with, like, the sheriff's department, the dispatch and EMS, to make sure that we have multiple redundancies so that if somebody hacks the internet, that everything doesn't drop out, that we've got some backups to the backups. So
Just a couple questions that you need to ask them. One is, we paid for a couple of elevator phones up at Justice Center. I don't know what is.
it is, that's what the adapters are for. Any phone that's not going to be running through a computer workstation, we're trying to identify those. They just have to have that adapter plugged in, and
The glossies work great. One of their advertising in practice, Justin probably try to hook up so fast we should.
And that's something that we're gonna do. We're gonna have another, I asked AT&T to set up another call with us, with you and John and Justin and just any of our tech people that we have with their tech people so that we can talk back and forth to make sure that our infrastructure will withstand what these new devices are gonna draw, so that we make sure that we're getting everything that we need, and when we get it, that it's actually gonna work.
Make sure the ones who report upstream bandwidth, that's most critical.
I know, that's fine. We just gotta watch out that it don't overload our system that we got now. We have the same problem that Joe's got, that put the extra work on, then it blows our motherboard, or whatever you call it, I don't know what it's called.
Like what Jeff said, the upload stream on your internet connection, that's what's critical with it, and you actually gotta have your firewall set up to actually, when somebody picks up the receiver to make a phone call, that it prioritizes that traffic going out. If not, when you're talking to somebody, it's cutting in and out just constant, like it sounds like you're in a tunnel. So, I mean, there's a lot of prep that goes into making sure that it's, you know, what it should be.
Monthly phone bill right now, Ron, is about what?
Monthly?
Yeah.
Probably 5,000 to 6,000.
Okay.
Varies.
Probably cut it in half. So it's
Definitely.
$30,000 to $40,000 a year.
That goes into the road fund, not the street.
Districts.
That's all I got to do.
It's just saving a lot of money, yeah, that's what everybody will be aware of that. All right, appreciate
One more
that.
thing from the technology committee, we've started the process to get the .gov domain for Nelson County. They had to submit some paperwork from the judge's office to buy it. That just makes sure that no non-governmental entities end up with the .gov. So hopefully we'll have that, and we'll start working on moving that stuff over onto a .gov, and then we'll just push the traffic for the other website over to that one. Then we can start working on it.
It was a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, it's not easy.
The federal government was very responsive too. I mean,
Well, they've been pushing it, so hopefully so.
I mean, I've never seen.
They really want us to do it. They want every government agency on a .gov, so they've been pushing it, so.
Easy to watch it.
I appreciate it, Joe. Mr. McKay, you have a county attorney's report?
I don't have any report.
Magistrates, John?
I've reached out to the health department and trying to get some statistics on their most recent overdose statistics. I got it in the email today, but I haven't looked at it yet, so I'll bring a report about that at the next meeting.
All right. Jeff?
No, I did not.
Tim?
Not much in Boston, safe and healthy. I've got the fire department down there looking for their little parking lot to be paved, or not parking lot, but their driveway type thing to be sealed, not paved, but resealed. I'm just kind of interested in that and wanting to know what steps we need to take to see if we can secure
Talked to Brad about that yet?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I'll talk to you.
We'll put that on the radar, see what we can do. Adam, Keith?
I just want to thank Brad for all of his work on the bids on D-Head and working with the state, and also on the water line project, Brad. I know you've had your plate pretty full on that. Thank you.
Let's get them done first before you.
That's right. I mean, we might fist fight the next one, but right now I'm gonna thank you.
One thing is, I'd like to move our next meeting would be July 4th, and everybody's wanting to move it, different ones, so I'm suggesting that we have one meeting in July, because there's gonna be so many people out of town. Try to coordinate everybody's schedules as much as I could to be employees and vacations, kids out of school, and magistrates and so on, so I'm gonna recommend moving the next meeting to July 10th at 8 a.m. I need a motion to that effect.
Can we also add on there that there'll only be 10 things on the agenda?
It is a special meeting, right?
It's a special meeting, it'd be only on the agenda, but I mean, I can't tell you that. I can get you some more blacktop water
Not
lines.
commitment. I'll make a motion that we move it to July the 10th at 8 a.m.
Motion for John,
I'll second it.
second for Keith. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm gonna have to get up early.
I didn't know it was gonna I thought we was gonna go back to July 4th there for a minute.
You also need to cancel the July 18th meeting.
And I need a motion to cancel the July 18th meeting, that's next on the agenda.
Motion to cancel.
Second.
Motion by Adam, second by Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Before I get to this next thing, I'm gonna move around a little bit. I met with a group, I actually met them last year during my campaign, and they were very interested in starting a support group. Since COVID, a lot of these things have fell through the cracks. I know a lot of people that I've met that suffer with this problem, and PTSD, and LC that I knew very well, got to know him very well, and he talked about it a lot. And I got Frank Thompson. Frank, you here? I met with Frank and LC, and we were going to meet sometime in July, try to have a group, and they're going to lead it. So we start having a support group to lead, and there's a lot of people in this county that are out surrounding counties, as far as I'm concerned, that we'll just be there to help support them in any way. And there's some grant funding that we can apply for, different things, start some programs also. So just so everybody know that, that's coming down the pipeline. The girl at the animal control, what's her name? Brooke. I met with, or asked Brooke, and she actually reached back out to me yesterday, or asked her a couple weeks ago to start getting more quotes on the medicines and drugs and wormers and everything to use out there, and she's come back with I don't have it in writing to show you a tremendous amount of savings, especially at that one she was showing me. They went with some other vendors, and it was several $1,000s a year that she's going to save out there and bidding this thing out and doing, and I forget the name of the company, but I'll get that to you in writing, just let you know. And I asked her to go ahead and start that immediately. Let's see what else I got. Do y'all, on this Mago thing, let's go back to that. If we want to save $1.50, because they can start blacktopping pretty much immediately, according to what they told me. We get this back to us, so we've accepted their. Can we do a change order tonight also? Accept a $1.50 discount.
If they're offering that to you, do you have it in writing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have it. I can present it.
Yeah, we've got a $1.50, save $1.50. I'd like to go ahead and get that. I'd like to go ahead and get that done. I mean, it was the state used it for many years and save us $20-something thousand probably, when we figured it probably closer to 30 when we get this extra money. If we get that.
You talking about the reused blacktop?
Yeah, 20% versus 15% of regrind.
I call it the milling, but they call it strapping or whatever they call it. But it's basically had it, and it's been successful everywhere. I mean, I've talked to Mark and I've talked to Mike. And
Do we know if other counties are doing that?
there's a lot of counties doing it, a lot of cities. They do it more in the cities than do it in counties just because it's centrally located, you know.
Yeah, but the cities don't get 60 mile an hour traffic on.
Oh, we're not even supposed to.
245. They're raising it to 60 mile an hour.
I don't think the traffic affects them anyway. It's the weight, usually the weight.
Well, I was gonna say,
Freeze and thaw.
probably the state did it to 15% because of the weight of the vehicles that are traveling
I
on the
can't
road.
answer that. I can't answer that question. I don't.
Well, they had a problem, and I don't remember what it was. I do remember checking into it. There was a problem, and that's why they backed it up.
It's up to y'all if you want to do it or not. I want to get this done tonight so we can tell them to start black.
Can we think about that?
I guess you can.
Or just let each district, if they want to use it, use it. If they don't want to use it, don't use it.
Mago needs to know, because when they mix the mix, because they gotta go one road out of it, you know what I'm saying? They can't just do one district.
Oh, that's-
They've already,
I'll make the motion that we use the 20% mix.
okay, got a motion on the floor by Adam, second by Jeff. Any more discussion? Keith, you want to talk about it anymore?
No, I'm just still a little uneasy about it. I'd like to get educated on it a little bit more.
We approved both of them, so you could specify which one you want on your road.
Well, like he said that It'd be hard on Mago to
They
switch
wouldn't
back
be
and
able-
forth.
It'd be hard, they couldn't do that. I mean, it'd be almost impossible. I guess he could do it. I got a motion on the floor, and I think it'd be fine, Keith, because I've studied yesterday.
Okay, so you'll back me up and give me more if
I
it
got
don't
you
work
back.
out? All right.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we got that, Brad.
Yes.
We've been working on this damn thing for a pretty good while, so it's a lot of time. Talking about Brad again, there's a lot of energy and time spending that thing. Old courthouse renovation, I basically don't have to tell you. All you can do is walk up here and see it. And,
I think it looks pretty good out there.
it looks better.
Looks better than it did.
Yeah.
Looks better. You didn't see it the last week or so, and all this mess and dust and bees and wasps and hell, it might have been snakes. I don't know. I know there's spiders.
I bet there was 10,000 bees in there,
Yeah.
maybe more.
70.
How many?
They estimated around 70.
70,000.
So anyway, if y'all seen it, just let everybody know.
70.
70,000, yeah.
Wow.
There was a lot of problem. We just ended up tearing it out. We had some, a couple of our crews. That's what that's for, isn't it? We used some of our people and some inmate crews and tore all that. It's not gonna really cost the county that, but once we go back to something, we have to decide what to go back with. But, as you can see it, and there's some leaks, and it leaked again this morning, and we gotta isolate the leaks and figure it all out. We wanna get it all sealed and get the leaks fixed, then we go back and decide what we're gonna put back on it. So, just kinda let everybody know what we're doing. We have been putting a few little walls, did a little bit of remodeling, this over here was all tore up with the rain and all that, just to kinda isolate some offices for some of the people and the staffing, would be a little better for. Let's see. The one thing I'm going to propose before we go into executive session, I want to restructure Nelson County Code Enforcement Department. And by the statute, Chip McKay will have to tell me what number it is, because I can't see it. But anyway,
It's 100.4 of the administrative code.
yeah, administrative code, the judge has authority to annually review all organizations in the county and so on, and make sure things running properly, and recommend changes and the reasons why, and so on. And I got a copy, if you'll see that. I want to relocate and reorganize the code enforcement, basically where they can have more offices. It's going to be a lot more accessible to the public, as they've been have to go down these hallways and trying to find out where they're going. It'll be at where the old planning and zoning was at. It'll be a lot more efficient. We are going to update all the ordinances, inspection policies, and fees associated with the code enforcement inspection policies. We've talked about that, I have, for several months. I'm suggesting eliminate the full-time administrative assistant position and create a part-time administrative position with 7:30 to noon hours, our occupational tax clerk, and we'll cover the other, which we have in the past. The deputy judge executive and our receptionist can fill in as needed for vacations and so on. Create 2 part-time nuisance control officers. Just let everybody know, Richard, his health has not been really good. He's been out for 2 weeks. He was out, I guess, a month ago, about 2 weeks. And I mean, it's not life-threatening, or I don't think it is, but he's had some ankles and stuff, and he's been hard to get around. So I have nobody in that spot. As you heard me say, I want to clean up the county, and I've talked about it a lot. And I've got 40, what did I say in my note? 40, I think 42 or 3 places that I've got to look at now. I don't have any help, and I'm trying to find some help, part-time help. So I want to create 2 part-time nuisance control officers. One of them will be paid for just like it was with Richard. The other one would pay for through the canteen fund. Me and Justin talked about that, so we can use that person also with the inmate program outside. So it'd be like a dual purpose. And it won't cost the taxpayers any money. And there's one nuisance ordinance we've been paying for, so that budget will stay the same. And by doing this, we'll save approximately, counting the insurance and the money and overtime and so on, about $47,000 a year. I don't need a vote on this, it's just a proposal. And we can look at it, talk about it for the next 30 days, and it will become effective August the 1st.
Judge, I wanted to amend that a little bit. Our $47,000 estimate was actually, we didn't take into account, we actually budgeted in for an extra officer anyway. So it'll actually be on top of that. That extra officer we put in the budget will be on top of that 47.
It's probably gonna be more like 65 or something like that, 67. It's my proposal. If anybody has any questions, you want to talk about it any, or we just take it and we can talk about it later.
Judge, I just want to say that this, under this plan, it has to be available for 30 days for public inspection, but it's not effective until 60 days after proposal. So it will be August 1st. It'll be 60 days after today's date it'll be effective if the court doesn't vote it down.
Okay.
They don't have to vote to approve it, but you can vote to turn it down.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to do, you talking about for public approval, what do you actually?
You just have to keep the plan available in your office and in the clerk's office for public inspection.
Anybody got any questions, they can ask me. That's all I've got. Anybody, I think it's all, nothing else on the agenda. I didn't miss anything. We're gonna need to get a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
Motion by Jeff, second by Adam. All in favor?
You want to take a bathroom break?
We already going in, we need a motion, take a recess. Same motion. Motion by Jeff, second by Adam, go to 5-minute recess.
5 minutes, if I hurry then.
Don't make a session, back in the regular. Second. Motion by Jeff, second by Adam, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned by Snow. Second. Second by MP, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
You guys.
Thank you for your time.
And then I got something for you before you leave.
Can't get it no shorter, man.